Real mutiny at Liverpool. Why has Salah turned against the club and what's next for the Egyptian? Manchester City are taking Rodrygo. Guardiola is preparing a mega transfer this winter. Barcelona have finally found a new lethal striker. PSG are plotting revenge on Pérez. 100 million euros for the Real star. And Tottenham are going for Rashford. We're breaking down all of this and loads more in today's video. Lads, let's see if we can smash 350 likes on this one. Your support genuinely helps us bring you even better stuff. Right, let's dive into the hottest transfer rumors. Salah and Liverpool finished. It really feels like we're watching the end credits roll on this one. Mo Salah's future has exploded into the main story just weeks before the January window opens, and it's all because of what the manager's doing. Arne Slot has proper put his foot down and benched Liverpool's biggest star for 2 league games on the bounce. Obviously that got everyone talking, but the absolute chaos kicked off after Leeds United. Salah left out again. And then what he said after the game? Mate, it was nuclear. The Pharaoh tried to keep it professional, but the hurt was all over his voice. Any tension that was still behind closed doors is now well and truly out in the open. That mad 3-3 draw with Leeds on Saturday was the moment everything snapped. Mohamed Salah went straight for Arne Slot's throat in an interview right after the whistle. 3rd game in a row he's been on the bench under the Dutchman. He is absolutely fuming. Let's not sugarcoat it. Speaking afterwards, Salah just let rip. He said flat out that he has no relationship left with the Liverpool boss. Wrap your head around that, our main man up top saying he doesn't even speak to the manager, and then he basically accused people at the club of trying to shove him out the door. The 33-year-old said he's devastated with how he's being treated. Feels like he's being made the villain, even though he's carried this club on his back for years and given them absolutely everything. This is what he actually said. I can't believe it. I'm really disappointed. I've done so much for this club, everyone's seen it year after year, especially last season. To be sat on the bench? I don't even know why. I feel like the club is just throwing me under the bus. That's exactly how it feels. I kept saying I had a good relationship with the manager, and now suddenly we have nothing. I don't know why. Honestly, this is not acceptable for me. Why is it always me? Let's make Mo the bad guy because he's the problem. The problem is not me. Tell me that doesn't sound like a goodbye. He's literally saying he's being stitched up. And he didn't stop there. He went in on broken promises too. The club promised me so much in the summer, and now I've been on the bench 3 games straight. They haven't kept their word. Simple as that. Christ knows how poisonous it's got between Salah and Slot behind the scenes for him to come out and say all this on camera. Transfer-wise, Saudi Arabia is where the big noise is coming from. The Saudi Pro League desperately wants Salah as their marquee statement. Al-Ittihad and Al-Hilal are the 2 fighting for him. Sources close to the deal via Caught Offside say the Saudis are ready to smash the bank, 80 to 100 million euros on the table, bonuses included, even a sell-on clause thrown in. Yeah, sell-on at 33 is a bit of a joke, but it shows how serious they are. Liverpool have 2 options now, and both are horrible. 1. Try and patch things up. Get Salah playing again in Slot's system and keep him till summer. But when the player says there's no relationship and promises are broken, good luck with that without the dressing room imploding. 2. Take the absolute truckload of Saudi money in January and move on. With everything that's been said publicly and the Saudis circling, a January sale feels more likely than ever. 100 million euros for a 33-year-old who's publicly fallen out with the manager? Financially, that's insane business. We'll see if they can fix it quick, but January is basically here. Salah genuinely believes they're trying to get rid. Right, I need to know what you lot think. Who's gone first, Slot or Salah? And do Liverpool just take the 100 million Saudi cash while it's there? Get it in the comments. Saudi Arabia are officially lining up a massive summer 2026 haul, but this time they're doing it properly and with perfect timing. Mundo Deportivo report that a top PIF boss has said outright, next summer, they genuinely plan to take Robert Lewandowski. The Pole's Barcelona contract runs out in summer 2026, and the moment it does, the Saudis will move in with an offer. They won't even bother trying in winter, because they know Barca will hold on to him until the very end. But come summer, he's a free agent, and they can grab him with their bare hands. Same story with Alaba and Rudiger. Their Real Madrid contracts also expire in 2026, and that is exactly when PIF intend to strike. The official stressed, this trio, Lewandowski, Alaba, and Rudiger, is the perfect chance to get top players for nothing. The best bit is, the Saudis have finally stopped playing Santa Claus. Salary ceiling for these deals is now 25 to 35 million euros a year. We're not talking the 100 million plus they used to throw at Neymar anymore, PIF have officially said. From summer 2026 onwards, they are slashing excessive spending hard. They'll take quality players, but without the old madness. With Lewandowski, it's obvious. He'll be 38, still one of the best strikers around, but Barcelona are already clearly looking for his replacement. With Alaba, it's almost certain. Under Xabi Alonso, he's clearly not a starter, and nobody at Real believes they'll offer him a new deal. Rudiger still looks fresher, but if Madrid find a young top center back, the German could be left without an extension too. Basically, the Saudis have an ironclad plan. Summer 2026, Lewandowski, Alaba, and Rudiger for free, plus wages, up to 35 million a year. No transfer fees, just salaries. And even those are half what the first wave of stars got. This is cold, cynical, and extremely clever calculation. They've waited for the contracts to run down, and will pick up 3 players who just 2 years ago were worth 60 to 80 million each. Federico Valverde to PSG for 100 million? Yeah, of course. The whole Bernabeu is already packing his suitcase for him. Spanish papers have been spamming this decisive PSG bid bollocks for 3 straight days, and I'm literally crying laughing because this isn't even a rumor anymore. It's already the meme of summer 2026. They genuinely think Real Madrid are going to sell one of their untouchables just because Fedez had a couple of quiet games? The same lad who dragged this team through the mud last season when the midfield looked like a bloody bus station, and now suddenly he's going through a dip and it's time to ship him off to France? 100 million for a bloke tied down until 2029, who says every second interview, "I'll die in this white shirt," and who Xabi Alonso literally treats like he's made of solid gold. Fair play to PSG though, proper cheeky. They've clocked that Vitinha is class, but when City or Bayern roll up, you need someone who will run through brick walls and rip the ball out of throats. So their master plan is, let's just nick the most reliable top-level midfielder on the planet who also hits it like a missile. Genius. Only forgot to ask the one small detail. Does Valverde actually want to swap Madrid for Pérez? And the funniest bit, Real won't even bother replying officially. They'll just quietly file the offer in the drawer marked open in 2028 if we ever need a new winger. Yeah, 100 million is nice change, but you know what's better value? You smashing that subscribe button. It's free unlike Fede, and saves you from missing my inevitable mental breakdown when this rumor resurfaces in January. But seriously, that's not money. That's the price you pay to then spend 3 years trying to replace him while PSG tell everyone Valverde doesn't fit the project. Everyone knows this isn't a transfer. It's just Paris trolling the market again so they can say, "We offered, Madrid wanted silly money." Valverde isn't going anywhere. Hold me back, lads. Because if this somehow actually happens, I'll run to Paris myself and ask Nasser to sign my forehead. Ibrahima Konate is basically walking out the door at this point. Contract up in the summer, zero sign of new talks, nothing. Football Insider are literally saying Liverpool will let him go in January for 15 million euros just so they don't lose him for free. For a 26-year-old center back who last season looked like the next big leader of this defense, that's not cheap, that's taking the absolute piss. Yes, right now he's not at his best. Some games he looks sluggish, he makes stupid mistakes, injuries keep coming, but we all know what he is when he's on it. Last season, title winners, massive part of the squad, winning the biggest games, locking up the best strikers in the world, 26 years old, prime of his career, and we're talking about selling him for the price you'd pay for a decent championship center back? That's a joke. Real Madrid have already binned it off. All the noise said they were coming, then they just went, nah, we're good. The other big boys aren't saying a word yet. But someone is going to snap him up, mark my words. The guy has already proved he can do it at the very top of the Premier League, win titles, be in a championship team. Yeah, he's had injury issues and consistency problems, but 15 million? That's daylight robbery. Liverpool are obviously praying he has a sudden change of heart and signs. But let's be real. If nothing happens before January, they'll sell him themselves. Because letting him walk for nothing isn't bad business, it's criminal. And while Konate is halfway out the exit, Marc Guéhi is already eyeing up the red shirt. Liverpool want him in January. Full stop. If Guéhi comes in, suddenly losing Konate doesn't look half as bad. England international, ice cold, reads the game like a book. He might not have that scary athleticism Konate has when he's flying, but right now Guéhi is the better and more reliable player. If the choice is, let Konate go for free in summer, or take 15 million and bring Guéhi in tomorrow, it's not even a conversation. Still hurts like hell, but at least you get money and you plug the gap with a top player instead of being left with nothing and a massive hole in defense. So either Liverpool somehow keep Konate and show they still have pull, or they take the 15 million pocket money and bring in Guehi straight away. Either way, this defense is changing big time. And 15 million for Ibrahima Konate at 26 is the biggest no-brainer any club will see this year. January is going to be wild. Tottenham are already figuring out how to take Rashford next summer. If Barcelona do not buy him permanently for 30 million, Caught Offside writes that this is a very real scenario, and Spurs have him on their shortlist just in case the Catalans start pinching pennies again. Thomas Frank himself recently said the club is ready to act in winter if a valuable option lands, but the main focus is still the summer, because that is when Rashford could hit the market if Barca reject the option. And there are plenty of chances they will refuse, as they have a financial circus going on. Plus, they need to cover other positions before 2026. Deco and Laporta, of course, want to keep Marcus, but 30 million for them right now is a noticeable sum that could be spent on something else. Rashford looks excellent in Barcelona, with 6 goals and 9 assists in 19 matches, which is not just regaining form, it is being one of the most useful players in the team right now. After all that toxic meat grinder stuff in Manchester, the lad went to Spain and showed he is still very much alive. But in Barca, he has no guaranteed starting spot with all the rotation and competition. Plus, Flick loves to rotate everyone, and Marcus clearly wants to be a real attack leader, not just part of the ensemble. And this is where Tottenham have the upper hand. The club sees him as an ideal left winger who will close their biggest gap and instantly become the face of the attack. No, let us see about his form, and no experiments, just come and play the lead role. Frank's project looks quite appetizing right now, as the team is young and a rebuild is underway, plus London, plus the Premier League, plus no language problems. If Barcelona eventually refuse the buyout, and the probability is high, Rashford returns to Manchester United and becomes a main topic of the summer window straight away. And Tottenham will be standing first in the queue. Honestly, it looks logical on all sides. For Rashford, it is a chance to relaunch his Premier League career, but in a club where they are really waiting for him and ready to build around him. For Tottenham, it is an opportunity to get a top player for a price below market value. Even if United want more than 30 or 40 million later, it will still be better value than buying someone else for 80 plus. Basically, for now, it is all interest and prep work, but a very tasty story could happen in summer. If the deal works out, North London gets a player they have not had in a long time, and that is serious. Barcelona are already hunting hard for the man who will eventually replace Lewandowski up top. Robert is 37, still carrying the team on his back, but everyone knows this is a ticking time bomb. The drop-off will come sooner or later, and when it does, it will be too late to panic. That is why, right now, the club is looking for a striker 10 to 15 years younger who can either ease in behind the pole gradually or step straight into his shoes. One of the first names that popped up was Julian Alvarez from Atletico. Makes perfect sense. Young, Argentine, already proven he can perform at the highest level. Problem is, pulling him out of Atletico means starting a war with a direct La Liga rival. Simeone will bite their hands off before letting him go. So, the Catalans are widening the net, and a new key target has appeared on the horizon. According to reliable Rudy Galletti, Barcelona have seriously turned their attention to Lautaro Martinez from Inter. Here is the big catch, and it really matters. In his 7.5 years at Inter, Lautaro has almost always played in a pair up front. A two-striker system is his natural habitat. Yet in modern elite football, that setup is basically extinct. Most big clubs play with one clear central striker. So, the million-dollar question is, has Lautaro actually shown he can be that lone number one in attack? At Barcelona, they will create loads of chances for him that is not even up for debate. Flick's team can pepper the box with crosses and passes so much that any striker should be scoring in bundles. But on paper, Martinez's skill set is still different from Lewandowski's. Robert is a pure penalty box killer. Movement, positioning, finishing with both feet and head at an insane level. Lautaro is more of an all-rounder who likes dropping deep, getting involved in build-up, finding space between the lines, and creating his own chances. That does not mean he cannot play as a lone striker. It is just that, at Inter, they simply never gave him that role permanently. Bottom line, if Barcelona really go for Lautaro, it will be a fascinating experiment. The lad is clearly top club level, desperate for trophies, bang in his prime at 28, the perfect age for his peak. But moving from a comfortable two-forward system to being the sole spearhead is always a gamble. Some adapt instantly, others drown without a permanent partner beside them. Though, knowing Barcelona's finances, they will again try to pull off something clever with installments, bonuses, and swaps. The main thing is not to repeat past transfer disasters, when they bought players for one system and then changed manager and everything went to pot. All in all, Lautaro Martinez at Barcelona would be massive. But the adaptation question to the lone striker role remains wide open. Let us see if the Catalans take the risk. Rodrygo is proper close to walking out of Real Madrid now. Fichajes are saying Man City have got an official 80 million euros bid lined up, and they're ready to send it any day. Pep Guardiola has fancied the Brazilian lad for ages, and it finally looks like he's going for it. It's miserable for Rodrygo at Real right now. Turned down moves in the summer, stayed to battle for his shirt, and he's ended up with even less game time than he thought he would. Xabi Alonso hardly ever picks him. The lad is dead serious about January being his way out. He needs minutes week in, week out, especially with a Brazil place on the line. Real will let him go, but only if Rodrygo kicks up a proper fuss himself. No point keeping a pissed-off substitute when they paid 80 million euros for him, and the attack is already stacked to the rafters. 80 million euros feels a bit steep when Transfermarkt have him at 75 million euros right now, but let's not forget he was 113 million euros just last year. So City are basically saying, we'll pay more than he's worth today, but less than his peak. Smart play to see how much Real actually rate a player they're only using at 30 to 40% capacity. Guys, let's take a quick pause so you can hit like or dislike on this episode. Any reaction is important. Thanks for your activity, it really helps the channel out. Pep's been in love with Rodrygo for years. Rapid, flexible forward who can go past his man, press like a madman, and bomb into the box. The big City question is always the same: will he actually play regularly with the false nine and all the wing chopping and changing? Liverpool and Arsenal are sniffing around too, but City want to get in first and nick him. If Rodrygo properly demands the move, 80 million euros will look perfectly fair for Real. January is going to be massive. At 24, Rodrygo is not hanging around to warm the bench in Madrid, and Pep is ready to hand him the minutes and trust he's crying out for. If it happens, City's attack gets an instant lift. We're all watching. Right now, the Brazilian is miles closer to the exit than to a new contract at Real.